All right, so I started my day listening to some awesome podcasts, such as Riding the Bench with Justin. Great podcast, good energy, good kid, man. He's going somewhere. But anyway, and I just continued on through listening to a bunch of things, and of course, almost every one of them's talking about Jonathan Taylor. By the time I was heading home from my job, it was a long day. Now we've got all these storms coming in here in North Carolina, right here on the coast, so it's about to get nasty. I figure I'd get this out. I was getting more and more upset, more angry about what I was hearing. I'm hearing every one of these, especially national reporters and talking heads, and some former players, all these people, and they're talking about how Jonathan Taylor is being disrespected. Disrespected. I'm not sure you guys even know what that means. If you really want to know who's being disrespected, it would be the fans, not Jonathan Taylor. The fans that, 50 to 60,000 of them at a time wearing his jerseys, screaming his name, supporting him, showing them all the love in the world over the last few years. Run the damn ball. That whole thing. Yeah, those ones that he's kind of giving the cold shoulder to and just not said a word to. Those fans that he failed to put a good product on the field for last year. And those fans that he's sitting there and complaining in front of for only making $4.3 million to play a game this year, saying it's not enough. It's not enough, even though he agreed to it. It's not enough, even though it's literally 100 times the average salary of those fans in Indiana. That means they would have to work 100 years to earn what he's going to earn this year for playing a game. But it's him that's disrespected. I can't take that. I can't possibly co-sign that. You're not being disrespected. In fact, you're doing the opposite. You're being the one that is disrespecting. It is ludicrous to think that a person who came into the league and was benched his rookie year for having the fumble problem, and then did come back pretty strong the second half of that year, and then had a fantastic second year, elite second year, the only year he was elite, and then last year, I don't know, from what I've been told by these same talking heads time and time again, discussing a lot of other players, is that to be considered elite and make elite money, you need to be elite consistently. Consistency. That's the key. Except in this case. In this case, it's okay to be, incensed and irate over a billionaire named Jim Irsay saying whatever he says, even though literally his entire existence and presence on social media has literally been just this all the time. It's who he is. He says what he wants, says what he means, he just says it. He says whatever. It's a known commodity, and just now we're going to be upset about it. Just now we're going to be, it's a problem now. Come on now. If you're getting mad about something that you know is going to happen, then you are ill-prepared for life whatsoever. And to sit there and think that you are worth more than what you agreed to play for without putting it out on the field consistently, you're just wrong. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about it. Josh Jacobs got paid because he was consistent. And he was, done with his original deal. That's kind of how that works. You make a deal, and then you keep that deal. And if we're really discussing worth, a man is only worth what his word is. Now, I'm not claiming to be the world's greatest businessman. I'm not. I don't make $4.3 million a year, that's for sure. But, I don't know. In my mind, it seems like smart business wouldn't be letting the person that's representing me insult the guy that's cutting my paycheck, or that I'm trying to negotiate a new paycheck with. That would be step one. Step two, if my job were to play a game, I think I would probably play it to the best of my ability. And if I were expecting, elite pay for doing that job, I would have to put elite product out on that field consistently. Now, last year, this team finished 4-12-1. That's not a good product. It's not. And in some ways, that is on the owner, Jim Irsay, and the general manager, Chris Ballard, because it is their job to put a good product out for the consumers. But it's also the job of the employees that they hire and put on that field. That's why they're paid so much, is to put a good product on the field. And if they do not, that does not warrant more pay. That's not how it works. It's just not. So if I were a smart businessman, I think the best path forward would be to not say anything, especially when all my other teammates who are up aren't. And I would come out and I'd bust my ass for the first month or so of the season, put down amazing numbers, undeniable numbers, numbers that you have to keep. And then I would go in and I would try to make that deal. And honestly, if I were a running back that is highly intelligent, as is the one that we're discussing right now, and I truly wanted to change the running back market, truly wanted to change it, I would do all that I just said. Put the product out on the field. And then when it came time to negotiate the good numbers, I'd do it myself. Because that's how you truly change a running back market. You empower the player. You don't get some talking head or some mouthpiece to work for you. You don't have everybody else put the pressure on for you. You do it yourself as a man with your own actions and your own words. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that, well, maybe we should just throw him a little extra money for the season and placate him. Well, how is that fair to the other players like Pittman or anybody else? That would be Grover. How's that fair? Hey, look, everybody, you don't get paid because of the product that we put out last year until you've proven in this new system. Well, everybody except for JT. Yeah, that's how that should work. No, that's not how that works. What we need to do is go out there and show that we're worth more money, and then we get more money. Whether it be with this team or you make it undeniable for any other team to trade. Which brings me to another point. All those same talking heads complaining and saying, well, the Colts won't pay him, but they want a first round pick. You're damn right. And they shouldn't take anything less. First round pick or its equivalent. You know why? Because he says he's worth that. So let's see. And so far, we're seeing. Here's the deal. If Jonathan Taylor is still the same Jonathan Taylor as the 2021 Jonathan Taylor, he is worth a lot of money. He's worth resetting the market. He is, absolutely, because that Jonathan Taylor was elite and a man of good character. But the 2022 JT, that product, what, 800 yards and what, 3 touchdowns? That's a $700,000 guy, pretty much. And that's a lot. I ain't making $700,000. So like I said, it's the fans that are being disrespected here. The fans that have screamed and cheered and supported this man, that he's turning his back on like they're nothing. And you don't get to pretend like they're nothing. That's not respectful. It's the opposite. Especially when you're spitting in their face by saying, hey, look, all that support you gave me, that's not enough. In fact, I need to make more than 100 times your salary this year. It doesn't matter that you've spent a good portion of that meager salary on going to the games to support him, or on his jersey, or on any of that stuff. Doesn't matter. In fact, what matters is him and his needs. That's all that matters. Now, I get it. You got injured last year, and that is a concern. It's a completely fair concern. But that's the name of the game. It's what you signed up for. You signed up to play a violent sport. And violent sports oftentimes earn you an injury or two. I get it. You're in a position that touches the ball more often and has a higher chance of being injured than most. And the current market makes it seem as though they're undervalued. But let's really get into this. Let's say you bust your ass and you get through this $4.3 million year. And then worst case, if you're healthy, worst case financial situation would be they franchise tag you. So what's that? 11 million. So now you're at 15 in 2 years. And then let's say you get through that year and you're still healthy and performing, and they tag you again. And we're talking about another, what, 15? So $30 million in 3 years. That's not enough. That's spitting in the face of the fans. Like literally, like the fans don't matter. This league wouldn't exist if it weren't for the customers of the league. I get it. I hear all the time, the league wouldn't exist without the players. The league wouldn't exist without the owners. The league wouldn't exist without the fans. That's what's made the owners. That's what's made the players. Otherwise, you might as well be a backyard ultimate frisbee fucking competition. That's it. That's all you are if you don't have the fans. So let's stop this BS that JT's being disrespected. That's crap. I mean, that is all it is. It's crap. It's just people trying to hype other people up to get clicks and get likes and whatever. And let's start talking about what really matters. What really, really matters? These fans and a good product on the field. And it seems to me that the Colts are trying to accomplish that. It also seems to me that they're well within their rights to expect a contract that was signed with them to be upheld on both ends. And it definitely seems to me, to be fair, that they would expect that from any of their players, let alone a guy that was supposed to be a leader in that locker room that allowed that team to perform the way it did last year. Leaders don't do that. Leaders step up and change the culture. That's what leaders are expected to do. But instead we got 4, 12, and 1. And no one's talking about that. No one's talking about his role in that, or lack thereof, because no one's talking. We just want to complain about Jim Irsay being Jim Irsay. Well, Jim Irsay isn't beholden to anyone other than the fans. And the fans didn't get the product that was promised last year. When that happens, it's got to change. The only way to change that is to start over. You start over this year. The past doesn't matter. If you've been elite 1 out of 3 years, that does not mean you need elite money. But if you're elite another year, I bet you get it. Just food for thought. I may be an idiot, but I'm tired of being told or talked at like the fans and their opinion don't matter in all this. They do. These people work just as hard for their money, if not harder, and they ain't playing games. They don't have health care. They don't, well, some of them do, but a lot of them don't have health care. They don't have the ability to go on vacations in their off season. They don't have body gurus, and they don't get to, afford nice things. Their nice things is a Jonathan Taylor jersey. But he doesn't seem to think they matter. If they did, he'd be saying something. He'd be stepping up and keeping his word. He'd be setting the example for all the young men coming up in this world that, hey, you need to keep your word. If you sign a contract, you hold your end up. And you grit and you bear through every challenge. And then you come out on top in the end.